Good morning, Britain. The worst maternity scandal in the history of the NHS. Good morning, Britain. It has just gone 6 o'clock. Welcome to the programme. We are bringing you a very special show today because, of course, millions of us around the country preparing for bills to rocket when the energy price cap rises. 54% on Friday, and that is an extra £700 a year on average. From 7 o'clock, I will be joined by Martin Lewis. Photograph. For the first time ever on this programme, we're taking your phone calls, answering your questions. Martin, the People's Shadow Chancellor, will join me at 7 o'clock. First, though, our main news this morning, a landmark inquiry into the worst maternity scandal in NHS history will be published today. It is expected to conclude that hundreds of babies died or sustained life-changing injuries because of failures in maternity care at Shrewsbury and Telford NHS Trust. The review examined more than 1,800 cases over 2 decades. Talking to Dr. Hillary about that shortly. Also going to be joined by Andrew Pearson, Kevin Maguire, of course, plus the royal commentator Hugo Vickers on why he believes the Queen was absolutely right to have Prince Andrew by her side at the Duke of Edinburgh's memorial service. Hugo was there yesterday, can tell us about that. First, though, just horrific stuff. Charlotte, let's have a look at the weather now with Laura, who is in central London. Laura, thank you. Still to come on Good Morning Britain, our cost of living special. Martin Lewis will join. First, let's get the news, travel and weather where you are. See you in a moment. 6:23, counting down to our cost of living special, which begins at 7 o'clock when I'll be joined here in the studio by Martin Lewis. But first, let's have a look at the front pages this morning. Well, here, let's turn our attention to what happened at Westminster Abbey yesterday. It was the memorial, of course, for the Duke of Edinburgh, and the front pages. He tweeted, his presence was always going to be controversial. There's a public visual which is endorsing him.
Well, I don't think it was endorsing.
Very much indeed for now, staying with us. Hugo Vickers, thank you for being with. Speak to Dr. Saleha Hassan, whose father died from COVID at the same time as the Downing Street Christmas parties back in 2020. We will get her opinion on Boris Johnson's decision last night to host a dinner party for Tory MPs on the day the first Partygate fines were issued. You're watching Good Morning Britain on ITV. Boris Johnson accepted yet that the law rules were broken. No, at the moment. Have you not realised there's a war on? More important stuff. Jacob Rees-Mogg dismissed this inquiry as fluff. Has the pressure been taken? Sensitivity issue here.
They could have cancelled it.
Dr. Ehsan says, you know, when Dr. Ehsan has lost her father, the minister's response is, let's have a party. Yeah. So, as she says, could people who've been fined for something that wasn't fundamental and are fines, please, because it wasn't fundamentally serious. That's what the Prime Minister and ministers said about the allegations before the fines were issued. Responsible for lying to the House of Commons. Okay, let's move on from Partygate because we have other issues to discuss. And one of them is, we're going to talk to Dr. Hillary. The NHS is at its lowest level of COVID, the waiting lists, the fact that other services didn't get the attention that they needed. It's simply... Parking for those who work in NHS hospitals in England will end.
That's right, and all the reasons, all the...
Now, though, it's competition time. You could win £80,000 in time for Easter. Andy Peters has the details. Right?
It's been a big couple, and one of the problems that we have.
Good morning, Britain. The energy price is set to rocket this Friday with the lifting of the price cap. And this morning, we're bringing you a cost of living special on how to cope.
Millions are facing the biggest personal finance crisis I've seen in the 20 years I've been doing this. Not just soaring energy prices, but food prices, council tax, and a whole host of other commodities rising at the fastest rates we've seen in a generation.
So, Good Morning Britain, it's just gone to 7 o'clock. Welcome to our special programme. Today we're focusing on how millions are facing the biggest cost of living crisis in more than a decade. Many households preparing for bills to rocket when the energy price cap rises 54% on Friday. That is, on average, an extra £700 a year, Martin.
Yes, and for the first time ever on this show, no pressure, We'll be taking your calls and I'll be answering your questions on how to deal with those issues. So if you've got a question on anything to do with trying to improve the situation for your pocket, please do get in touch. And I will try my best to answer as many of them as possible, though I need to be straight right now. There are sometimes there are no answers. But remember, there's a big deadline coming on Friday. And I have a lot of things that you're going to need to do before we get to Friday. I'll be running through all those in detail in a moment.
So if you have a question, please give us a call. It's free on 08000 320 223. Call by 8:30 this morning. You can, of course, always contact us via Twitter and Facebook. As Martin says, going to do our best to get through as many queries as we possibly can. You do have to be 18 or over to make that call. It's a daunting situation ahead. But we have the right man for the job, of course. Nicknamed the People's Shadow Chancellor. His name is the one being spoken by
weeks, and I am very mindful and cautious at the moment of what I say, as I know so much is being... It is, but I cated on the idea that you have your income and you have your expenditure, and that is why I've been calling for political intervention.
Yeah.
That's a point about the status of our country, one of the richest in the world, that needs to be able to support the poorest in society so they can survive, forget thriving, so they can survive through this next period.
On the programme this morning, we're going to hear reducing expenditure. She's literally trying to reduce from many, many meals or meals out or stop the takeaways. She's trying from somebody who, because you talk about reducing expenditure, she's literally trying to reduce the number of meals she has during a day, not from to reduce down to one, the number of meals that she eats in a day because the prices are going up so much.